In this video, we're unlocking 5 deep emotional blocks that keep many people from retiring earlier. Over 60% of Americans say that they fear outliving their money more than they fear death itself. That fear is real, and so are the psychological tools that can help you break free. I'm Dr. Brad Klontz, financial psychologist, professor, and best-selling author, and if any of these fears sound familiar, you're not alone. And stick around to the end. Number 5 is the one that keeps wealthy people wealthy and the rest trapped. Remember to subscribe if you like psychology and money. Now let's get into it. Fear number 1, the fear of running out of money. What's scarier than death? For 6 out of 10 Americans, it's this. Most people don't know how much money they even need to retire, and that creates constant anxiety. And the problem with this, other than just feeling terrible all the time, is it paralyzes people. It's crazy, but most Americans actually fear outliving their money more than they fear death. So this is what you need to do. Build a simple retirement budget and use today's numbers, but you can inflate it by about 3% a year. Then you need to do this, even if you have to start small. Automate a consistent investment amount each month or each paycheck into your retirement account. If you take this small action today, even if you have to start small, it will make a huge difference. Even if it's 1% of your income, your fear is going to get smaller and smaller, and your mental health is going to improve too, just by taking some action. Taking action is really the cure for your fear. Fear number 2, the fear of starting too late. Think you're too old to start investing? That lie keeps people broke. Many people in their 40s, 50s, or 60s, they think it's too late to start investing for retirement. So what do? They just give up completely. Here's how to tackle it. Experiment with what we call in financial planning the rule of 72. This will help you understand how compound growth works. The rule of 72 is a simple formula that helps you estimate how long it's going to take you to double your money given a certain amount of return. The formula is simply this: 72 divided by your interest rate equals the number of years it's going to take to double your investment. So, for example, let's say that you have a 10% annual return on your investment, which, by the way, has been the average annual return of the US stock market for over 100 years. You would simply divide the number 72 by 10. So at a 10% return, it will take you just over 7 years to double your money. So if you're young, you can see your investment explode over time, even with a modest investment. But even if you're starting late, even 10 years before retirement, a strategic approach to investing like this can make a huge difference. And if you're starting late, if you're starting in your 50s or 60s, maybe you're not going to have as big a chunk as you'd like to have at age like 70 or so. But that's okay. Remember to take into consideration whether you're getting any Social Security benefits, or maybe you want to start another little side hustle that gives you more freedom and you can explore another passion, or just consider working part-time. Fear number 3, the fear of making the wrong investment. If you're paralyzed by too many investment options, you're not alone. And this fear is very real because the average investor underperforms the market. And we all know stories of people who've invested money and lost it all. But what you don't understand when you hear those stories is these people did not approach investing the way that wealthy people approach investing. Usually they were engaging in speculation. They were trying to get rich quick, or they were making a huge mistake that most people make when it comes to investing: emotional investing. So when you are investing and leading with your emotions, this is what happens. When the market starts to go up, you get all excited. You see people making money. So what do? You try to find the asset class or the investment or the stock that has increased the most over the last 6 months or a year, and you dump all your money in it. In other words, you buy high. Then when the market drops, what do? Your emotional investing makes you panic, and then you sell. So you end up selling low. And you just repeat this pattern. This is how most people invest, and that's why they don't do so well. This is why studies have even found that debt investors outperform the living. And what are debt investors doing? They're doing nothing. When the market goes up, they don't panic. They're not getting excited. When it goes down, they don't freak out. They're neutral. They're emotionally neutral. And so they end up doing better than us living people who are out here panicking and getting all excited. And quite frankly, that's why most wealthy people, over 90% of them, work with a financial advisor. That financial advisor can be a stopgap between that emotional excitement or that deep fear that you're losing your money, so you can make better, more logical, more beneficial investment decisions. And by the way, if you'd like to work with me and my partners over at Occidental Asset Management, I got a link in the description below. But when it comes to investing, some people want to do it themselves. And that can be okay if you can avoid those emotional investing mistakes. And if you are a DIY investor, this is not financial advice, but I'd strongly encourage you to research things called target date funds. They give you a diverse exposure to a bunch of different stocks and a bunch of different bonds that automatically adjust over time. You don't have to make any decisions, which is fabulous. You set it and you forget it. So if you are a do-it-yourself investor, research those. Again, I'm not suggesting that's right for you, but it's definitely worth a look. And this next fear is related to fear number 3. Fear number 4, a fear of market crashes. You watched your parents lose half their investments in 2008, and now you're terrified. And look, market trauma is real, whether it's happened to you, you've seen it happen to your parents or your grandparents, or even stories that you've heard about it happening to other people. And this type of trauma creates avoidance patterns, and it's going to set you up for failure. And that's why it's really important to understand market cycles. Historically, the US stock market has returned over 10% a year on an annualized basis for over 100 years. Now think about that. That takes into account World War I, World War II, the Great Depression, a bunch of other wars, a bunch of trauma that's been happening all over the globe. And for an investor, what feels like you're falling off a cliff when there's a market correction, if you stretch out your timeline and look at that investment over the course of 5 or 10 or 20 or 30 or even 40 years, it's just a blip on the screen. Ups and downs in the market are totally normal. The key for you is to make sure that you have a good investment strategy, you're diversified, you have an appropriate mix of stocks and bonds based on your risk tolerance, based on your age, based on your capacity to take risks, depending on your retirement horizon. As long as you have a very good, solid plan in place, what you do is you make sure to stick to the plan, especially in those times where the market might be going up or it might be going down. So experienced investors, they don't worry about market crashes. They know that this is a normal part of the process. And if they continue to invest in things like their 401k, they love it. They love when the market's down. Each month they're buying those investments cheaper. This brings us to fear number 5, the fear of success. And I'm not kidding. This secret fear keeps people from retiring, and they don't even know why. It turns out that many people sabotage their retirements subconsciously. They will tell you that they want to stop working, but deep down they're terrified. And because of this fear, they may sabotage themselves by not saving and investing enough. So what do they fear? They fear the loss of an important part of their identity, their job-related role, and everything that comes along with it. Sometimes that's friendship, connection with others, or they fear losing a sense of purpose, that they're doing something valuable and contributing to the world. That's why it's so important to create a crystal clear plan and exciting vision of retirement. So I want you to think about it right now. What does your ideal retirement look like? Who are you with? What are you doing? How does it feel? And more importantly, what are you doing each day that matters? What is your purpose? You need a very compelling, passionate purpose. Otherwise, why are you going to save and invest for it? For many people, it helps to create a vision board of their ideal retirement. And when I've done that in studies, we've seen dramatic increases in the amount of money people are willing to save and invest each month to achieve that vision. And let's be frank, if you don't have a really exciting, compelling vision of retirement that is full of purpose and joy and fulfillment, why do you want to retire to begin with? And I think that's an okay option. For example, I love the work I'm doing. I plan to never retire, but your goal might be financial freedom instead, where you don't need to work, or you can choose the hours you work, or you can work less hours. You're free to choose. You're not stressed because you have to get that paycheck each month to pay all your bills. To me, that's really the key. Retirement from financial worry. Don't let any of these retirement fears run your life. And once you see them, you can change them and you can start making smarter choices. Remember to check out the description for additional support. I'm Dr. Brad Klontz. I'll see you next time.